I think you're going to find tonight's a very important and dramatic turnaround in the information that's now flowing. As you know, Tim Alberino wrote pretty much the script for our latest True Legends, The Unholy See, and lo and behold, within probably 1 week, Doug, I'd say this, within 1 week, the world's largest pyramid in the world was found hidden inside a mountain in Mexico that they're claiming the early settlers built a church on top of a hill, not knowing that the Great Pyramid of Cholula lay beneath. Now, that's BS, okay? The bottom line is that from the beginning of the Spanish conquistadors, pillaging, plundering of the Americas, South America, Latin America, all over the country, they have basically put their churches on every high point in the city to show the conquest of the Catholic faith over the pagan religions. Now, when Tim and I first started talking about this, we basically encountered a lot of people poo-pooing us. But I think it's neat because we can make statements and then God gives us the exclamation point. And judging from the response we've been getting on the Unholy See from all over the world, people are saying it puts so many of the pieces together. Now, I find it interesting that this didn't happen 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, but by the grace of God, His love for His creation, He wants people to know the truth. And by the way, I think God's doing a great job of no longer allowing aberrations of specific denominations to obscure the Word of God. I say that in the context of there's nothing that's hidden that won't be revealed and made known. So we're going to talk tonight about some of the amazing things, but one of the most amazing things is, and I'm going to turn right over to you, Tim, that is happening in our world is all of the plausible and the former and formal denials of alien life, of planets that can host human life. Everything that's out there now is coming to the forefront, and I believe, and Tim will share in detail, that we're on the verge of, right now we may be just watching the beginnings of the announcement that the aliens are here and that they created us. They'll move it from the aliens are there to the aliens came here, and pretty much to fit in with their total unveiling. So we'd encourage everybody to absolutely watch the trailer and to understand tonight, we're not making stuff up. We spend a horrific amount of money to go all over the world and then to have the best production we can afford at the moment. And Doug, from what, Tom Horn said and others have said, this is the best DVD of its kind that they've ever seen. I think you've echoed that. So this is not, a handy cam, a mic on the camera, just, cinema verite style. This is a production that basically weaves the central theme of history that the fallen angels gave to mankind. Their technology, their understanding of science, and through that arcane, hidden, or occult understanding, as people serve them, has come about this, what I would call, technologically decadent period of techno-serfdom. Those are words I coined years ago, that are coming into full fruition. And so now we're seeing everything that's been hidden revealed, and the astonishing thing is that it litters the pages now of mainstream news sites, especially when it comes to the supernatural being on Drudge, the London Daily Mail. All over the world, people are experiencing strange anomalies. And somebody said, it's almost like the most evil hand opened Pandora's box, the one that was hidden in the regular box. So go ahead, Tim, and take it.
Well, good evening, gentlemen. Talking about this Cholula pyramid, what I find really interesting about this is that the pyramid was actually discovered in the early 20th century, but is recently appearing all over the news. It's just exploding all over the internet and all over the news, even though it's been known. People have known about this particular pyramid for a while, for a century. And it literally comes on the heels of, as Steve said, of our production of our last documentary film, which deals with exactly the situation that we find at Cholula, at the Pyramid of Cholula in Mexico, which is a pyramid, a very large pyramid. In fact, this is claimed to be the largest pyramid on the planet. It has a base 4 times larger than the Great Pyramid of Giza and nearly twice its volume. But perched on top of the pyramid is a Catholic church, which in the Unholy See, we detail why it is that the Catholic Church, in many cases, will place a cathedral or a monastery or some other kind of religious building on site where these ancient structures are found, and literally on top of them, sometimes, as in the case of Cholula. And this pyramid is, not only is it the largest structure, what they say is the largest structure on the planet, man-made structure in terms of ancient structures, it's also the oldest continuously occupied building on the continent because of the church that's on top of it, which I find to be very interesting. This church was built during the conquest of Mexico, which was basically happening in the same time frame, more or less, of the conquest of Peru. So you have many of the same factors happening in Mexico that were happening in Peru, in Mexico with Cortez, and in Peru with Pizarro. But these guys were discovering the same things and doing the same things. That the conquistadors in Mexico with Cortez were finding the bones of giants, just like the conquistadors that were conquering the Incan Empire in Peru and Bolivia. And in fact, they were communicating with one another, according to the documents that we uncovered. And then it's a well-known fact that these conquests, that they were cut from the same cloth, literally, these conquistadors. And so giants are being discovered at the same time, the bones of giants. These pyramids are being discovered, and churches are being erected, Catholic churches. A Catholic presence is being placed directly in these very important archaeological zones. Just like all the other structures, all the other major ancient structures around the world, this Cholula temple pyramid has an extensive underground network below it and inside of it. And just like the other structures, ancient structures around the world, it's built on top of previous pyramids. So it is extremely interesting to me that, as Steve said, we finish our film, the second episode in our documentary film series, The Unholy See, dealing with this subject matter, and then a month later, we've got a story running through the press of a pyramid that fits the bill of everything we talked about in our film. And not only that, also in the month of July, a couple of weeks after we released our film, or a week after we released our film, NASA came out with an image of the surface of Mars. And I talked about this extensively with Tom Horn and with Gary Stearman, that NASA comes out with this picture with the heading Morse code on Mars. And of course they created a media frenzy about Morse code on Mars. Is this a potential communication on Mars? And then they proceeded to absolutely disqualify the idea that it could be a potential communication from Mars. But nevertheless, the heading Morse code on Mars gets plastered all over the world in the news, in both internet articles and on major news networks such as Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. They all carried the story. And I find that to be very interesting because we featured something called the geoglyphs of Tiahuanaco in our first film, in episode 1 of our True Legends series, which are the geoglyphs are these massive lines and dots and mounds that are raised over the earth in the Altiplano, on the high plain of Bolivia, but are also engraved into the bedrock. So they're mounds and they're engraved, and they're absolutely massive. And you can see those featured in the first film, film of our documentary series in episode 1. So it's almost like we're producing these films, we're covering these topics, and then suddenly we're being verified. Our research is being verified in real time in the news right after we complete these documentaries. So there's definitely something happening. I think that we are experiencing what could be described as soft disclosure at this point. I think that very gradually, incrementally, information is being released that is intentionally designed to prime us, to acclimate us to the announcement that's coming in the very near future.